Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. Today, I want to talk about these watches right here because, well, I got a note just a few days ago from one of our YouTube viewers who asked me, what do you think of the Casio W800 watch? And I had to, that's this watch right here. I had to admit I wasn't too familiar with it. So I looked it up and I realized that's a great value. Depending on where you shop for one of these, it's going to cost you somewhere between, I don't know, $16 and $20 typically. So, and it just has everything you need for a very basic watch, but with that Casio reliability, 100-meter water resistance, what a great value for a very simple, straightforward watch. And as I was looking at it, I also realized, well, here's one that's almost the same thing. This is the W96H watch, and you can see by the readout that it's all the same information, just maybe these digits look a little bit larger, and the LCD readout overall, that whole screen looks a little bit larger, a little bit of a more of a curved, smoother look here, and this is a little bit more angular, maybe more like a G-Shock watch. This one here 50-meter water resistant, and this one 100-meter water resistant. This one here has kind of a flat crystal right there, and this one is a little more convex, angled out just a little bit of a curve there. But these watches, aside from those differences I just showed you, everything else about them is the same functions, and I thought it was worthwhile to take a good in-depth look at these watches. This one here I found for about $20 everywhere I looked. So, again, very affordable, very straightforward, just your basic watch. If you wanted to even regard these as beater watches, I don't necessarily like that attitude that you can beat up a watch. But really, if you're in a situation where, your watch may get easily damaged, these aren't the toughest watches around. These aren't G-Shock watches. But if you're just concerned, you don't want to break the bank if you break your watch. Great values on these watches. So I don't think you can really go wrong with these, especially just kind of, maybe a first watch for a child, something like that. Lots of features packed in. And again, not very much of a budget there. Now, I'll just quickly show you here. These are the owner's manuals that came with this. You can see module 3239 or 3240. So same exact instructions for these watches, because this one here, this is module 3239 here. This one uses module 3240. And you can see the main difference is just the exact size of the digits there. This kind of has a line across there where this one doesn't, but otherwise, it's the same thing. So, all right, let's show you in depth what these watches will do. So let's just quickly take a look here at this W800H watch. Just a close look there. As you can see, Casio 10-year battery. So this uses the CR2025 lithium battery. And I have some other Casio watches like the Casio Royale watch that use that same battery and also say it's a 10-year battery. So maybe that initial battery won't last the full 10 years because you never know how long this was maybe sitting on the shelf before you bought it. But other than that, when you change the battery, 10 years, wow. Just so cool, so trouble-free. Here you can see the day of the week. Here's a little indicator of showing whether your alarm and your hourly signal are active and what the mode is for those. Here, of course, a 6-digit display in either a 12 or 24-hour display there, and then there's the year 2021, and today's date happens to be November 17th. So all that information right there at a glance in your main timekeeping mode. That's great. So if you just got this watch, it's brand new, and you want to set it up here, start at the home screen, the main time screen, hold that adjust button until things start to blink. The first thing you could do is press this button down here to reset the seconds to 0. I'll push the mode button and now I can press hours. So if I press this button down here, I can advance the hours with each press, or if I hold it down, it will advance faster. So I could just take it around to whatever the current time happens to be, and then press the mode button to advance the minutes. And it only goes in one direction, so just keep going here until you reach the proper number of minutes. Next, I press the mode button again. Now I can adjust the year, and this will be any year from 2000 to 2099. Right now, it's 2021. Of course, months down here, and you get the idea. Today just happens to be the 17th, so if I do this, then I'm back to square one, and I'm all set. From here, if I want to have a 24-hour display, I push this button here, just tap it, and I go to the 24-hour display. Now, for some folks, that's going to be a little bit maybe not ideal, because you might accidentally push this and change modes back and forth. But if you do happen to change that, it's really just a simple push, and you either get 24-hour or 12-hour mode for both the local time, your alarms, your dual time, all the modes are either going to be 12 or 24 with that selection right there. The next mode, if I push this button here, is my alarm mode, and this is where I can set the alarm. It's kind of nice that down there I see the local time while I'm also showing what the alarm is set to do. If I want to change the alarm setting, all I do is hold down this adjust button until things start to blink. Then I use this button here that's marked 12/24, and that's where I can advance the hour. There's no reverse button. That's the light button there, so that doesn't do anything to reverse this. You're just going to go ahead to whatever time you want. And if you press and hold this button down here, it'll go ahead faster. So, you can do that sort of thing. Press the mode button, and now I can adjust minutes. So again, if I hold this down, it'll go quickly, and I can take it to whatever the minute setting I want is. Now, if I press the mode button one more time, you can see that this down here is blinking, those little dashes there. So what if I advance that? All right, that's a 1. And that actually refers to the month of January, the first month. So what it would do, if I were to leave it this way, set to this, then I would have an 8 a.m. alarm that would go off every day in the month of January, but no other month. And now if I do this here, I can set it to a specific date, like January 1st, and no other date. Or if I take it back down here and set this here, I could actually set it to be every month, just the first day of every month is the only time that alarm will go. So it could be a specific day, it could be a specific day every month, or it could be a specific month every day of that month. Or, again, if I just reset these all back to dashes, it would be every single day as long as you got it turned on. So a little bit of customization there on your alarm. Now, if I push this so things stop blinking, this is where I can set it. Do I want it to be a normal alarm or a snooze alarm? The normal alarm is going to just beep for about 10 seconds, and then 5 minutes later it'll beep again, and it will keep repeating that every 5 minutes up until half an hour after the initial time that it was set to go. So when it's like this, all I need to do is tap the adjust button, and what that does is it allows me to have the alarm in snooze mode, or no alarm at all, or the alarm in the regular one time only per day mode. So I have that adjustment available for my alarm. Also, then if I push this button here, now this is where I set the hourly signal, and again tap the adjust button. Do I want the hourly signal to beep every hour or not? So I have that option right there. I usually like the hourly signal. I kind of like that. Okay, then so that's just your alarm and hourly signal mode there. Now if I push this again to go to the next mode, this is my stopwatch mode. And oh, look, I turned on the stopwatch last night and it's still running. So I'm going to stop it using this button here, and I'm going to reset it using this adjust button here. So all zeros on my stopwatch. As you see, it's hours, minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second. And I see my local time there while I'm in stopwatch mode. If I start this, it will go all the way up to 24 hours, and then it'll reset. And I think it just keeps on going. I think that's why I set it to keep going. I wanted to see, well, does it actually keep going after 24 hours, or does it just reset to 0 and stop? I think it keeps going, But if I'm wrong about that, I'll put something in the description of the video once I figure that one out for sure. But anyway, 24-hour stopwatch. So I've got a lot of Casio watches that offer that 24-hour stopwatch. And then finally here, this mode is the dual time mode. So what I've done here, my local time right there, I'm in the Denver time zone or the Mountain time zone of the United States. And I've decided to set my dual time to UTC. So very simply, it's 7 hours ahead of my local time. So you can do that, or you can set it to any time you want, just as long as the seconds in this dual time mode match the seconds in the home time mode. So all I have to do is press the adjust button until things start to blink. And again, I can go ahead to whatever hour I want. If I wanted to say, well, I'm just going to make it an even 12 hours ahead of where I am, I could do that. And, for some of these time zones where maybe it's 15 minutes different from, kind of the standard hours difference from UTC, right? You can set that to, just an extra 15 minutes ahead there. You can do it that way, or half hour, or whatever, some of those less common time zones are. Or, if I wanted to just say, I don't really want this to be a different time zone. What I really want is this just to be, say, 10 minutes ahead of the real time. So sometimes, maybe you're one of those folks that I want to kind of trick myself into being a little early to my appointment. So I'll just use dual time for something like that. It's just 10 minutes different from the actual time. Whatever you want to do with the dual time mode. And there you go. And those are all the modes. Oh, and I almost forgot. Here's what the backlight looks like on these budget-friendly watches. Nothing too spectacular, just a little backlight LED that comes from the bottom corner there. And, not bad at all, really. And that's everything the watch does. Maybe. Stay tuned. I've got a little more information about this. So just to be clear, here's the other watch, the W96H. And again, it does all the same things. I could go through all the same demonstrations on here to show you that it's going to do all the same things as the previous watch I showed you. But again, just a little bit of a different look on the case. All right, so what else do you want to know about this watch? How about an official weigh-in? Let's take a look there. And it comes in about 32 grams here. Now let's try the other one. See how much that weighs. Ooh, 37 grams. Okay, so just a little bit of a difference in weight. And if we compare those to some of my favorite G-Shock watches, this G-Shock Square, for example, popular style of watch there. So that's about 50 grams there. This G-Shock analog watch, another fairly popular thing there. Compare that, 52 grams. So yeah, just a little bit heavier. Something like this very popular Duro watch is going to be heavier because it's got a whole lot of metal on there. And that's 93 grams. So you can see these are, among all my watches, these are some of the more light watches, and they're going to be, something that's going to be very comfortable to wear, I'm pretty sure. How about the fit? All right, here's a great big G-Shock watch I happen to be wearing. That's how that fits. My wrist is about 7.5 inches around there compared to this watch. And I think that's a pretty good look as far as, just the scale compared to my wrist. Not a lot of extra strap there if I had a larger wrist, but still, that's good. It's got a lot of holes there for a smaller wrist. And, I like it. Fits pretty well here. Let's try the other one. I think this strap looks just a little bit longer there, but again, it's a pretty good look there. Not too large, not too small, just pretty good right there on my wrist. And again, feels pretty lightweight, pretty comfortable. I have no complaints about that. As far as the material of the strap, it's kind of that, standard inexpensive resin that you see on a lot of Casio watches. These G-Shocks have a thicker resin, and I think in the long run, this is going to last better. So this is a little bit more, just thinner, maybe doesn't feel like it's built quite as tough as these G-Shocks. But otherwise, I really think that if you're not in a really intense environment wearing this, you'll be fine. Again, you've got these 4 screws that hold the back down. So that's kind of standard on these inexpensive watches. And I know some people are going to say 50-meter water resistance is not very much. And I tend to disagree. I know it's a big discussion out there in the watch world, and maybe with some of your more expensive mechanical watches, that sort of thing, you might think, well, I'm a little cautious about what could happen to the watch if it's not water resistant enough. But for everything I've had experience with, all of my G-Shock watches, all of my Casio watches over the last, I don't know, since the mid 80s, okay, I've had Casio watches, some rated to 50 meters, some more than that, and I've never had a problem. I've just never worried about it. If I want to go swimming in a pool or a lake, if I want to wear the watch while I'm taking a bath or in the shower or washing the car, I've just never had a problem. So I think for 99% of us, either one of these is perfectly adequate for water resistance. So that's pretty much everything I can tell you about these watches, except I found out something else as I was doing my research on these, and that is there is a countdown timer mode with these watches. How in the world? I don't see that. Well, the thing is, you have to dig for buried treasure, as it were, to get the countdown timer mode on these watches. You have to open up the watch. You have to do something inside of it. Yes, I would say, for me, here's what I think. If you were to change the batteries on these watches yourselves, I would call that skill level 1 on watch maintenance. If you need to go in there and activate the countdown timers on these modules, that's more like skill level 2, or actually more like skill level 3. So if you would like to know how to activate the countdown timer mode on these watches, well, you can go search around YouTube right now and find something, or look down in the description of this video, because I'm going to make a video and share it with you where I show you how to activate the countdown timer mode on these watches. So look for that, and that will be the next episode of The Good Timekeeping Show.